Early Saturday morning at Joan's parents' house. Chaos marked the start of the day. Joan's parents had just found out about her pregnancy, and her dad was not taking it well at all, understandably. Joan was his only daughter, the apple of his eye, and to add on to that, she was still a school-going child, a high school student. This was not how he had envisioned the life of his child. His anger blinded him, making him irrational. You have brought shame to our family. What were you even thinking? Dad, I'm sorry. Who is responsible? Speak up. Mike. Mike? That good for nothing. He's not a good for nothing, Dad. He loves me. Do you hear this nonsense, Mama Joanne? Joanne, shut up. Do you not see the gravity of your situation? You're still a child and have a lot of growing up to do. I am not a child. I will be an adult legally soon. I can make my own decisions. John believed she was not that much of a child. She was not stupid. In 2 months, she will turn 18. In 3 months, she will be sitting for her exams. Now that you're an adult, Joan, it's time for you to pack your bags and leave my house. But Baba Joan, where will she go? Calm down. Let us talk about this. She's just being stupid. I do not care about where she will go. All I know is that I do not want her under my roof anymore. Let her go and face the world. Mama Joan, go get her bags. Joan, take your bags and leave. I never want to see you again. You are a disappointment. Mama Joan tried pleading with her husband. He was not swayed by her tears, so Joan took her bags and left. Joan expected her parents to get angry. She, however, did not expect to be kicked out. She felt no regret as she walked to Mike's house. She was sure Mike loved her. He was the man responsible for her present condition after all. She did not understand her parents' anger. It did not matter. Mike loved her, and he would be there for her. He had told her that so many times. He loved her, and he wanted to spend the rest of his life with her. Her parents should understand that. Why did they not understand? Were they not young at some point in their lives? Mike loved her, and she loved him back. Simple as that. Mike could take care of them both. He had always showered her with gifts, a proof of his undying love for her. Mike was at his house chilling when he heard a knock at his door. He was not expecting anyone. He opened the door to find Joanne. She was crying, and his mind went on alert mode. He invited her in. Joanne, what's up? My parents kicked me out. Why? What did you do? I am pregnant. Mike froze. His mind was racing. Oh God, how stupid could she be? She actually allowed herself to get pregnant. He needed a moment to think. And I am responsible? Of course, Mike. Why would you even question me about this? I'm sorry. I just needed to be sure. You are the only guy I have ever loved, and you love me too. I want to be with you. Besides, I have nowhere else to go. Mike realized he had messed up at that point. He had no business going after a high school student. Why did he even listen to Ken? This was just a bet between him and Ken. Joan was beautiful, and they had spotted her as she was coming out of school. Then Ken, with all his brilliance, came up with the bet. Whoever could get the beautiful girl first would win, and the other party would have to pay for both their drinks for the next 2 months. It seemed like a good idea then, but then here were the consequences of his actions. He did not love her, and he was sure he did not want to spend the rest of his life with her. She was immature and not woman enough for him. He could not kick her out. He was not heartless, but neither could he live with her. But for now, it seemed like that was the only option he had. It's okay, Joanne. We shall figure this out. So they stayed together, day in, day out. Joanne out of love, Mike out of pity. He could not help feeling resentment towards her. Mike felt like she was stopping him from truly living. He felt trapped with her. He loved his carefree life before her. He felt angry that he had to help her as the pregnancy began showing more and more. He had sent her to her parents' home one day to see if her father had come down, but Joanne had messed it all up with her arrogance. Her father had kicked her out again when Joanne still refused to acknowledge that she was messing up her life. Joanne turned 18, and she sat for her exams when the time came. She had faced discrimination at school when her pregnancy got visible. Her friends avoided her. Her teachers talked about her. Her fellow students looked at her like an animal in a zoo. Everywhere she passed, people seemed to have an opinion. She felt lonely. The rejection from people made her shrink. The judgment she faced made her see what her parents were trying to protect her from. She wondered if it was too late to go back and ask her parents for their forgiveness, especially after she was done with school. She, however, did not take that step. A few months later, she had her daughter, the most beautiful girl to have stepped in this world. There was no one by her side as she gave birth. Mike was out drinking with his friends, a habit she disliked. She could not ask him to stop because she knew she had no power or authority. He had told her before that he provided, so he made the rules. Whatever Joanne had thought being in love was like, she soon had it debunked. She realized Mike was a good for nothing, and her father was right. She hardly ever saw Mike, and when she did, they only seemed to fight. She had seen the texts on his phone and the lipstick stains on his shirt. Joan would spend her days crying. She was angry and exhausted and lonely. So one day, Joan took her baby and the few clothes she had and went back to her parents' house. Her parents, on seeing how frail she had become, welcomed her back with open hands. They fed her and looked after her. They cared for their grandchild with love. Joan showed her parents her remorse. She had matured quite fast in the months she was away. Mom, Dad, thank you once more for your forgiveness in taking me back in. I was being immature, but now I see my mistakes. It's okay, my daughter. We are glad that you came back to your senses in time. Joanne, you are my only daughter, and I know I could have been a little more understanding. No, Dad, I totally understand you, now that I have a child of my own. So, what plans do you have for your life right now? I would love to advance my studies and have a career. That is fine, my daughter. Your dad and I will support you in whatever way we can. Of course, our prodigal daughter is back, alive and well, and more responsible. I want to see you prosper, my child. You have my full support. As the sun set on that day, Joan realized how lucky she had been. She had the best, loving parents, and this time she would not let them down. Maybe she would give love a chance in future, but as of now, she had a lot of growing up to do.